Yeah.
So I just created, being that we're on a plan, it's unlimited. So you can just go in there now and just start the room already. Yeah.
Um. First off, yeah, because I'm gonna die here. I see that happening, and I can't afford that. So slide this into there somehow.
So it looks like this is.
Yeah, it's
Let's
just
take that out of there. Although, it's kind of cool to see that in the background. It's
it's for it
unlimited.
to be hovering in the sky over the bridge. It's like,
And I'm wondering about that. That's cool to leave. I mean, the environment they said contract.
you're representing the environment. Don't take that away.
What is this thing?
The door frame.
Door frame. Let's just angle it away from that so it catches over. Yeah.
And
So,
drop
do you
that
think I should be
down
standing
there.
or sitting? Do you
All
think?
presentations are deemed lousy when you say
Right.
too relaxed as opposed to
Right. Right.
standing up
Right.
and you're attentive, which you would be anyway. But
So,
so taking the maybe taking this down might.
make it more reasonable. Let's see.
Oh no, that looks good.
What's up, my national security people? I love you guys. What's up? You're being led wrong. Look what you're doing. The whole system is not what you guys think. So we got to take this to the next moment, next forward motion. The only thing is I can see the ceiling thing.
That's what I'm trying to.
Right. So I think maybe you're right because I don't want this to see. Oh my God, it looks nasty when you do it down.
Okay. Oh wait, wait.
I just want to see a little bit of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and this way that's
So
it.
it looks like you have material in the set.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
because I have it all set up. It's perfect just the way that it is. And if I stand up, it makes me look like I'm really tall in the set. This needs to go back more. Is what it is. Then it's going to catch more of the wall and everything else. Wait a minute. Is it set on 1.69? Remember that last time?
Video ratio. Let's
Right.
find out.
So when I run upstairs real quick. Uh,
Yes, it is.
what's it on? Shouldn't it be original ratio? That's when it made it look small. Try that one if you have.
I don't see a difference now. There wasn't a difference.
No?
As to where last time we saw the change, this one didn't. Hello.
Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello.
There we
There we
go.
go.
Okay.
Okay,
Looks
looks
like
like
we're
we're
on
on
a
a
roll.
roll.
Yeah, you left the moon on there? Good, I think it's good. Looks right. Now the charger must be plugged in over there somewhere because it wasn't upstairs. I know this one doesn't fit. And it had a little Velcro on the end of the one that belongs to this one, so that's how they'll know it was. Just plug that in there for a second. I feel confident it's probably most likely not going to fit. No. What do you think would be better? For professional look? Solid red with the pink? Or the shirt I have on with the pink? Oh, really? Okay. 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 Why? It's blackness around? What? Right. You don't think that'll be like a festive type of thing? No Maui Wowie? Okay. You're not fun. Haha. Right, no doubt. So I guess just check the headset, please, if you don't mind. Check the headset. This new one. Yeah, we already used it.
Hello? Hello?
Not doing anything. I'm not even said so.
Hello? 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 No way.
There's no way.
Hello? Hello?
We are not muted, so what is the discrepancy here?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
But I don't know if I can go with it.
Hello? Hello? No, that's not good. It's echoing because I'm near the phone.
Oh.
Okay.
You gonna say Houston?
Well, I could have, but. Hello? Hello? Yeah, we're good. Am I muted?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
How's my tie look, by the way? Yes. So now, as I'm doing what I'm doing here, the Earth with the environmental contractor thing. That's great. But I can't see my time on here. Okay, cool. 6:47. Why can't I see you?
I'm looking at you.
Oh, you're on the phone. I say to myself, the other computer didn't work. How the hell am I seeing you? I'm like, what the hell?
I can do this until my phone dies. It's on 25 right now.
I have to remember what's to the left or to the right. Tie it straight?
Yes.
Okay. Other way around.
Did you just move it to your left?
I'm looking in here. It looks like it's straight to me. I can't tell.
No, it is. But I was asking which way is it? It's mirrored on there.
Right.
You get that.
So right. So if I want to go that, if I want to go,
if you want to bring it to
where I'm
right,
seeing it here, and it looks like it's too much that way, I got to do this to bring it where I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you good.
Okay. Now, are you being seen with me?
I could not be.
Um, honest, I don't really care if you are. I'd rather you maybe not be, but I'd rather you be sitting over here like you said originally, because I'd like to leave it up to you. However, without touching the angle of the dangle, or if you're right-handed or lefty.
Righty. Well, I'm ambidextrous.
Why don't you sit over here then?
If you're more right-handed, it's more comfortable because then you could use your right hand to kind of. That's a quick adjustment. Okay. I don't want to be lonely no more. So I'm gonna take the mask off, obviously, when I get to the point. So are you? I don't want you to be part of the participant, though. In other words, how? In other words, you're able to switch things from your phone. So you're a participant at this point. But I'm a participant too. It says. Okay. Um. All right. All right. That makes a difference. Okay. No, 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 no. It's just I guess just you know, I just want to see total participants, but at least it's someone not just one. Yeah. Oh. Oh wow, we landed on the box. And I guess because, and I guess because I'm gonna have this is probably the only reason why that. You can hear me on the phone. Check one. Hello, hello. It's all good. All right. All right. So let me just add some more notes here. Let me do it this way. I'm just thinking about the drive home. What? Because I have to. I'm supposed to be going to my brother's house, and it's on the way home. But I want to unconsciously forget that I was supposed to go. What, you dance like a monkey? You think you might hit them? Kind of like a giraffe or something? Um, always provide 3 times.
53. Moments away from national security, baby. Love you all. So now, hold on a second. I'm on the right information again. 752-677-3762. So just be ready in case someone goes to say things and I want to take them out. In other words, you know what I mean? And not just take them out, but just silence whoever it is or...
Just so you know, anybody who tries to come in will not have permission in until you grant them access.
Okay. Oh, really?
When I join, if I hang up right now and try to chime back in, you have to allow me access. Otherwise, I
So
sit
I
in
just
waiting.
uncheck unmute themselves because they can't unmute themselves then.
Right,
Right. Okay. Enable waiting room.
right. That's what it would be. So anybody who does try to come in, you have to. They're gonna sit in the waiting room.
Oh, I see. Until. So what if I don't enable the waiting room? Will they just come right in? Yeah, it would. In other words, I'd rather come right in. Why should I have to accept them? Let them come in.
I think you can. There's a way that you can turn the waiting room.
I just did. Oh, security, right there. And it's a remove participant under security. Across from source, you'll see a whole bunch of list of over there. And I put it. I think I put it to let them come back in if they try to come back in again. So make a note of these things because these are perfect because we can just. Oh, how do we go live on Facebook now?
Click on Facebook.
Yeah. I thought you said you were going to be set up for that.
Okay. Live on Facebook. Okay. You're gonna probably have to sign into your YouTube account. I didn't do YouTube. And stuff about Facebook. I don't know what email you use. Not for YouTube.
That's why I thought you said we had it. You're looking at a book where you have to set up on Facebook. We got nothing there.
You clicked on YouTube, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
What?
You clicked on YouTube over there, not Facebook.
Oh. Yeah, well, Facebook didn't let me go in, so that's why I'm doing this one too. What is it?
Charles, are you ready for president@mail.com?
What's the password? Let me see it. Okay. Where is it? Sorry. Let me see it again. Sorry. Got it. Two flushes at the end of one. Two in the beginning. And then three numbers. Capital H. I just did this. Just did exactly that. Oh, well, not on Facebook though, on YouTube.
No, you don't do it on YouTube if it's your Facebook account. I just told you.
Oh, wait a minute, I still have it on there anyway, so. Why is it not giving me? But it's not gonna keep something up, the wrong email would be on there.
Right.
No numbers after that, just flash.
Nope. Just like,
Maybe, did you set me up on Charles Earth maybe?
no, I used the email that I got from your book.
I figured that.
I didn't change anything. I had no reason to.
Alright, well, we'll have to get this settled next time, so I'll make a note. Everything to Charles Earth really for president, please. It's 7 o'clock right now, so that has to be skipped. Hello, everybody. Charles Richard Cirilli here. And of course, for being safe for our pandemic, which we have a little surprise for this that we're not going to discuss today, but one most important thing I can say is my surprise I'd like to release with you. But you have to show me you care a little bit. You need to get me on national television. Please have faith in me. Let's take us to the next step. I think the one key thing that I'm representing here is I'm saying specifically that when do we care? We back out and say we don't care? Do we care? Yes, we care. And while we can say we don't care because we're hurt, and because of our IR and these things that are relative, we could see that we're not really in tune how we could be. So in short, we have a packed event tonight. It's going to be approximately 1 hour, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. The date 7/15/2020. My name is Charles Richard Cirilli, and I am so glad and proud to be here to represent what we could be. So let me just give you a little rundown of some of the things that we're going to go over tonight. So in short, these are some of the topics we'll go through. It's 3 takeaway messages, which is here in the takeaway message. One is, even with this pandemic moving forwards, how we must face some design clarity to be strong about this, to have an ability to prevail. We have a lot of damage going on. A lot of people are distraught. I heard, which I never heard in the last 10 to 12 years, I heard more fireworks, excuse me, this 4th of July than I ever had. And I predicted it. It totally fit. People are distraught. Even though it's illegal in New York City now, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't make it illegal. You want to have fireworks? I think it's the most important fundamental part of America. We need to have fireworks. However, I need to warn you because I'm a professional contractor, as well as it's easy to ask me what I don't do compared to what I do. I don't say those words too fast. but I have respect and I love all of us. We are beautiful. It's one of my mottos. And so I'd like to warn you, whoever sets off fireworks, you're on your own. You want to support our medical industry? How are we going to say it's wrong? But am I going to tell you you shouldn't represent the security, the solidarity, the freedom, our freedom? So that's going to be my warning right now is to anyone who wants to do that. I would want you to have fireworks. I wouldn't have it any other way. That to me is what joins us. When I was younger, I set off tens of fireworks. Tens and tens, you wouldn't even forget it. And it was fun. And have I had something blow off in my hand? Yes, I did. You got to be ready for that. One of my friends, he was in the back of a truck. I won't tell you anything more because that's not what we're here for, but you really need to be careful. Know that if you set them off, you're putting your own life in your own jeopardy. So please be careful as you enjoy our freedom. Hold on 1 second. 1 sec here. This is going to make a little more clarity. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's one thing I think is really important is how to be strong, how do we move forwards. I feel with this pandemic, our freedom is being affected. I feel this myself. I've always liked to be a little bit ad-libbed and to feel how I feel, and I've always been as customer service my whole life. I love people and public service, and I'm able to kind of predict in a certain degree things that happen around us. And then as we have things, people react when you get it right. So I think it's beautiful when you hit the target on those things. I want to hit the target for all of us. I do design. So when I speak, the one most important thing, and just to tell you a little brief about myself, it's about design first. And design is very key. Design clarity, so it be shared with you, so you have a feeling of where we're going. We have a better solidarity, a better respect, a better unity, a better connection. So I think it's really important to have the connections of what America has hollowed, especially in this pandemic, and we don't really see that we're being treated right by design. Let's go right into it. It's about design. So, so a little bit about myself. Charles Richard Zarelli. I have 14 licenses. Some of them are expired, but you don't forget the knowledge. You constantly ad lib and you move further. That's called envisioning. And we all have this ability, especially when we know about it. And I think being able to think forwards and having the unity always allows us to think of the next thought. And I think when you see this, I believe having an open government, open design clarity would make a respect happen that you would just appreciate and feel like you're really part of our systems instead of we feel so afraid. Why do we feel afraid? That'll be one of the things. So let me just make a sideway notes because I like to make sure that whatever we're discussing, if you don't mind, thank you. So aside from my licenses, I have 5 EP certifications within. I could build you an antenna out of your pen. I'm very direct science knowledge. I'm in business for 40 years. I'm a real estate entrepreneur. I have several pieces of land and property. I've been a landlord. I have people 17, 20 years. And my motto is, it's your home. You can ask them, and they will tell you that I've always looked out for them. In the interest of if I have to charge something and it be fair, because the whole model has to be, it's worth what I see exactly what it is for America. And I can just see that if I had the right team and how many really, really smart people we have across the board in America, the access that any United States president has at his fingertips would be really, really, really enriched if the president also directly knew science. So the first thing is, of course, is us to have a clarity and be stronger to come through this pandemic, to have a unity. The other thing that I have, which is certification in hypnotherapy, when I started to learn on mental framing, it's amazing. So we'll go over that mental framing in just a moment. And I have some information and a little information sheet I'd love to share with you, because I believe when you share the information, it creates a connection, and I want to have that connection with all of you. My motto is we are beautiful. So I'd like to enrich that. So Second thing is, even in a time of despair, to feel sound with design clarity, knowing with me, Charles Richard Zerilli, fresh, new, open design will balance much fairly. So I'm asking ahead of time, please have faith in me, have some trust in me, question me. You can have a chat feature here as we have, you can ask some questions. You can go on my website, timetojoin.us. So I'll break that down, timetojoin. So timetojoin.us. I had to use something with us. And when I use the letter I in any sentence, I try to, unless it's capital in the very first initiation of the sentence, I try to use a small I because it ain't about me. It's really about us. When you do this, there's a gratification. A lot of us are so inverted today. We're so, our retrospect is to self-reflect first because we're so afraid all these things are happening. We have a pandemic. How much support do we have from the top? When has anyone told you that you're beautiful? So I would like to share with every one of you right now. I don't care if you're bi, gay, lesbian, you're heavy, you're thin. I don't care if you're male or female. It doesn't really make any difference. You are beautiful. My name is Charles Richard Zerilli, looking to create some design clarity as a president and a human. I want to say not just that no one else is, other people are human, of course, but when you see design clarity, it adds a touch of human that we have to face what it is really from the very beginning of who we are as being human and then excel it at that point. When we excel it, no matter of whatever color you are, we end up moving forwards. And I have a respect for every little aspect, and I like to see beautiful things in every one of us, and I do. I have all neighbors that are every race and religion and color. We get along great. Anyone who's into white nationalism, to me, it's old. You really haven't been fed the right information. You haven't been shown things. Those who think that the color white is white, it's wrong. Those from the ancient scroll technology back in the day, it wasn't meant as a human interpretation. Yeah, you might say the color white, but it's an emulation of a frequency is relevant. Those who understood the ancient scroll technology, that's a heavy statement when I just said beyond just the words what it sounded like. So I'm going to leave it for them because there's an extension of what we respect. There's an extension of who we are. And those who want to excel need to understand what I just said. That's part of our design. So as a human being, you might abridge it and you might think, yo, you're going to go to the white light. No, 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 no. It's a bright light. And that is an emulation. That emulation is what you want to simulate correctly. If you do it wrong, like ex-Bush said, nagada, not going to do it. You're not going to get what you want. Anyway, so we have several different things. So that's a little bit about myself. I'm very diverse. Many people have said I'm like a shining light. When I had told them how I'm going to accomplish what we want to do, and part of my main feat here is I want to reframe our Constitution. Very, very important. We'll get to that in a little bit. It sounds outrageous to a lot of people, but any president can do so. And I feel every bit of Congress, the House, I feel the Declaration of Independence Party, which is my party, it's our party. It has an ability, we have to join all parties. In a pandemic and world crisis, I feel this is key. And to anyone out there, I would like to say, if you feel that there's a problem, honestly, I respect our flag. I want to say that. I respect our soil. And one of my videos for Charles Richard Zerilli for president, I kiss dirt. What would you like me to do to prove to you that I love us and I love our people? I see design clarity entertains everything. And then when you start to see that, you feel a comfortability because you're being counted. Now, let me just go through some other things. So, because I like to also say, when I see homeless, homeless to me is something that is a Geiger counter. It's a gauge, if you will. So how can I explain to people who aren't really technical? So you go outside, your tire is flat. That's a gauge. How flat is it? If it's on the ground, the gauge says you got to change your tire. When I see homeless, homeless tells me when we don't have design clarity, we're avoiding a lot of stuff. And why? Because it's hard to face that, because a lot of you have been so watching all the news, and once again, we're going to get into the mental framing why this is this way. We have an answer for this. It's good. This is beautiful that we bring these things out. Like any married couple, we go to the next step. We have respect of who we are. Guess what? The truth brings us to an answer. We don't want to face the truth. Do I want to face the truth? Honestly, honestly, I do. I've always been this type of person because then I've always been able to excel. When I face the truth, it allows me to bring something to the next level. To me, that's the most important thing, which when you face the truth, it's what brings us to being able to get to the next step. So, so anyway, so I see the homeless as a gauge. The homeless itself takes us to the next level. Let's analyze why that is. Not yet. We'll come back to that. So what else do we have? So design clarity and all that is relative to a fresh new open design by Charles Richard Zerilli. It's going to be up to you. So number 3, the takeaway message and how we can get what we want, honestly and fairly. When we start to have a little courage, you could lean on me. Even for armed force service people, we have 22 suicides a day. Is this acceptable for you? I'm outraged. Where's the design looking out for people who are fighting for our freedom? I can't take this any longer. I'm willing to give up my civilian life because I love us. In fact, for all you people, please, please, and I beg you, don't do it. How many of you armed force service people? And I understand, believe me, the things I've learned, I've always acclimated myself. I've always broke the framing. I've always excelled myself, and that's why I have 14 licenses. You want me to give you the formula to build an antenna out of your pen? It has to be a metal pen, of course, right now. Science one day will make antennas from plastic. Not yet, but I see us excelling. So once again, please, for anyone who's thinking about suicide for any reason, please don't. I love you. I care for you. And for all of those who are just in that stage, I want to hug you right now. So everyone, group hug. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Group hug. I got you. You're going to commit suicide. I'm not letting you go. And I'm going to kiss you on your cheek a couple of times and until you freak out. Because I love us. So let's take it to where we have some care, some beauty. Let's beautify America. We've always been great. Let's beautify America. Let's see some design clarity. So let's move past that. So what I see is there's definitely some honesty and fairness that when we face these things, like a married couple or any two people who are in love, guess what? When you face things, you have a new unison and you make a new escalation. And when you start to face those things, you start to climb up. And everyone knows when you make up and you get to that moment that you rekindle what you just were fighting and you couldn't take it and how beautiful it is. This is what I see America joining into this whole thing as a family that we all know it and we consciously enter into this. Boom. And we take off. Guess what? New America, a beautified America. We have global control. This is true. My video just changed, but it's all right. We have 52 to 58% of the world that we control. That's a fact. So 7 to 9 American people are worth 2.1 to 2.4 trillion dollars. By the way, I would like me to be fact checked. Everything I said is vetted. If I fall less than 10% to be off pint, I'll be surprised myself. I'm very diligent in design, and I like to pay attention to these things to take us to the right point because then we could fix it. I don't have a big head. One of my other factors, 97.7% triumph rate. And I love saying that because now it's time for me to apply what I know for the respect of who we are as American. We are American, which makes us, we do it, American. Together, we become American. So this is really important for us. So I do see a new unity, a new unification, but there's also appreciation. When I start to go into that, you might be a little bit taken back, but please give me this opportunity. All right, so let's move on. So some of the other things we're going to go over is some of the points of some of the things we kind of have to face here. You're American, I'm American, guess what? What's working right, what's working wrong? You're going to vote. So let's go right into this right now. So what is democracy? Why are we redefining words to make things confusing? So if I tell you this is a pen, this is a pen. If I talk about a pen, and I say if I had a pen, is it really the pen? No. If I talk about a map, is the map itself the actual roadway? No, but it's a representation. When I say democracy, can you hold democracy in your hand? Can I see you do that? How about this? vote me in to be a president, and you will be able to hold democracy. It'll be clear to your mind and your heart. So I ask you, please, heart awake. Because what is democracy, how I see it? A democracy, honestly, let's define it and let's talk about what a definition could be, is to understand all design, every aspect. So, give you an example. I build a house for you. That's a professional contractor, and several of my licenses, of course, have me the insurance, the compensation, all the rest of this. Um, I could build you any size building you want. Want me to build you a skyscraper? From the ground up, I will design the plans. So I'd like to just get this for you for a moment. These are some of the things. Pause for a second. These are some of the things that I have designed. And it's interesting because when you see these things, this is more of a technical aspect. It's not the building, but like America needs to be defined, what I'm about to show you is how I was the one who forefronted this. And one of my partners in one of the theaters on Staten Island that I'm still partners in, I put a good amount of money in. We're looking to go. And then now my partners want to do something different with the building, and I'm a minority. I have to respect that. When you're a minority, you have to respect whatever it is. But when the other guy was taking 3 years to do a plan, it's a 40,000 square foot facility. I said, no, 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 no. I said to the money partner, I said, would you mind if I take on the plan? He goes, yeah, you think you can? And the other guy freaked out a little bit, but guess what? We freaked back in because it needed to be done. So then I had the guy sit in my office for 6 months, and 40,000 square feet. I'm going to hold this a little closer so you can see it. This is a plumbing schedule, and it has different things. So as we see all the many different fixtures, this breaks down exactly how many sinks and toilets, how many fountains, how many different wash down basins you're going to have. So where do we see the technical aspects for America? We don't. We don't want to face it. Back to design clarity. That's why this is very, very poignant. So that's what I've done. I've also designed other plans which I don't have with me, and I've had architects sign off my work. So it's very beautiful when you have that ability. So taking it to the next step. So design clarity is key. Bringing it to this point, it all is about us being able to have a little bit of a umption to be able to face some of these things. So that's the key points we're going to go over. And voting suppression is relative to, I believe, democracy. Why would we want to have what we define as democracy? And everyone should have an ability to that. Voter suppression has allowed us to take what we have, physically allowed the word democracy to be given to all of us. But with voter suppression legal in 27 states, that to me is not really democracy. It seems like there's a control. Now, is that control right or wrong? Let's talk about it honestly and open. I can see why it's right. I can see why it's wrong. That's not the conversation for right now. But I want that to be open in what I represent, because we're talking about design clarity. Let's talk about all the pieces. Get me to national television. I'm going to break this down for you in a way where I have a couple of surprises. And I also have a poem coming up I'd like to read you. So let's get to it, because now it's 22 after right now. So let's cruise along here. So one of the things that I feel is part of design as the Geiger counter, when we have to see, we recently had a president, I'm just going to say DJT. I don't want to mention people's names. Everyone knows who that is. And with respect, I don't want to blame anybody. In fact, when you see all the thing wrong, whatever it is, any things that are wrong, I want to be blamed for it. Because if you blame me, I'm going to be able to come forward with it with an honesty, steer you right, make you feel good. Why? Because we're talking about it. We're acknowledging it. This creates a gratification within us. And we don't have to have this bound up tightness, which I believe part of what we stand for in an inbred technology, which sometimes you do things you don't know why. But in the inbred technology, I believe that I see is we're having a lot of suffering. And if you can gauge suffering on a scale from 1 to 10, and now gauge it on all, we're only increasing on our suffering. Where's the design clarity? Okay, let's continue. So this is what I see as a Geiger counter. And while the guy on the top says he believes that freedom of the press as our constitutional rights, I don't believe it's true. I believe I see the words, I hear the words, but I don't see the flat-lined, straight-up honesty dealing with everything. Now, this is a perfect example. Um, so this gentleman right here, and as you read the story, uh, was actually considered a protester, but he was also a media person. And it seems like says cop punched her in the face. Now, it seems like that when we have media recently that we know of, not just here, but this is just bringing that out is really what it's doing. So what do we have is we have media showing us that by the police department that I want to say it straight up. I don't care. I don't care if it's a state by state ability that police departments are governed and directed. When I see on a federal level that our media people are not being watched over by the Constitution, stop, hold the brakes, like an 18-wheel you see when they apply and the little smoke comes out. If it smokes, guess what? Put some water on it. So this is what I see, because I don't accept that our rights are being, where we say they're all being protected, but the actions are not true. So what we see is the two rights. We see the one right that tells us that all the money and statistics that have no scientific proof are telling us one thing. And all the money, of course, can say this is the way that is. And then we see with no words what's really happening. And that's what all of us are agitated. That's why people are protesting. Black Lives Matter? No kidding. How about everyone is a decent human being? What the Declaration says, when in the course of human events it become necessary for one people, that's all of us, to dissolve the political bands which have connected them and to assume among the powers of our earth. This is our earth. What do you want to do? Have something go wrong and then we say we didn't know? I'm sorry, I see design. To me, I see 5,100 years in front of us without any question. Without any question. Design clarity, guess what? It becomes clear. So when I hear that we are respecting our media people, but yet we're allowing someone who's in the White House to allow people to be desecrated, and one of our last presidents incarcerated more whistleblowers than any of the presidents that had done that in the past combined. Why? When I hear these things that they're talking about, these are diligent people. They've done national security, huge. I'm not going to go into details. It's not the point. The point is they started to get sensitized and they started to realize, wait a minute, I've given my life, my wife, my children. I've grew up with people, national security. My brother, one of the first responders at 9/11. They were told they could breathe the air. How much more suffering do we have to do? Now, I want to say this because a lot of people who understand that suffering makes money, because unfortunately it does. Let's talk about the truth. When does that stop? When do we acknowledge and put a scale of 1 to 10 on all the sufferings and put it on an open plate and say, well, if we do this, these people are going to suffer. If we do this, these people are going to suffer. If we do this, these people are going to suffer, and so on and so on and so on. And now we gauge our behaviors of what we need to do. We also have to acknowledge, how are we being primal? Some of the most intelligent people I see today, and that's no signal I'm giving, just please don't read that in. I'm not doing that. If I'm, that's like, perfect. As we see it, that's my indication. So I'm defining what I'm doing right now. I heard some other hand signals. I'm not with that. I have to stay neutral because we need a balance. Neutral to guide the Democrats, to guide the Republicans, to create the Democrats and the Republicans to actually show democracy exists. Guess what? The Declaration of Independence Party, Charles Richard Zarrilli for president. This is what I represent. And guess what? It puts an axe to grind up against them, because how can they say that they're standing for democracy and they have an opportunity in a pandemic to join where we need to be importantly connected for solidarity? That to me is where you're holding by being primal to a certain degree. In my poem, it's perfect. So I see with the redefining things. So 7:27, let's move on. PM Eastern Standard Time, New York City, 7/15/2020. As we move on, for those who are just joining right now, Charles Richard Zarrilli, running for president of the United States, the Declaration of Independence Party. Why? Why the Declaration of Independence? Let's go over that before, because I'm going to read my poem coming up, and then we'll go to some basic topics. Because the Declaration, I wrote a book on this, and I'm in the tail end of it at this point. Anyone who's a professional, I will send you a pre-copy of what I've done already, no problem. It might not be complete to the detail, but I want you to see it. I want to be open and honest, because when you start to see where I'm guiding to, you'll start to realize this is truly, I took 3 and 4 and 5 words of the Declaration. Those who understood from that derived also from what was some of the ancient scroll clarities. I'm not going to explain that here, but as we have those things, I would want those people to have all they want. Please hear me. I'm not kidding when I say that. I'm a very technically oriented person. I like to be open. So for those who understand that, that's an indication of something. Please give me a chance. I believe you'd want me to be guiding because I understood how several things weren't broken down. But the Declaration, how I see it, is a series of grand orders. You heard that correctly. Why are we avoiding it? I had someone say to me the other day, I wanted to do backflips because I was outraged. He had said, oh, it's just a makeup document. What? You celebrate 4th of July, not for the date. No, 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 no. Why did that date happen? Because in 1776, July 4th, the Declaration of Independence formed a unity in the United States of America, making 13 colonies. If those guys, the 56 people who signed it, if we lost at that point, they would have been hung. They would have had other things happen. I don't want to mention and get graphic. They would have been dead. They would have been beyond dead. But guess what? It formed America. So the Declaration of Independence stands for the 4th of July. Let's not please make that mistake and think that it's some makeup document. This is the most strategic thing of anyone who claims you're American. We have to talk about it. It says even referencing about our government when corrections need to be made. So I wrote this in the book and I break it down, and it's from birth to death, whether you are a person, business, or a government. I'll say that again, from birth to death, whether you are a person, business, or government. And that to me, when you start to read it and you start to realize what the question is, let's talk about things are more specific and let's nail it. What is it to be American? American. What does that mean? Wouldn't it mean that we have to honor the Declaration because we're celebrating 4th of July? Listen, I heard the fireworks. Did you where you are? I heard tons of fireworks. I was so happy when I heard that. You know why? Because people are so introverted at this point. We're so bound up. We're all cocked up inside. And guess what? It just had to come out. Illegal or not, people weren't caring. How many fire engines I heard? How many people got hurt? Why? Because they're doing it and they know they're doing it where it's not the law, so they're not being safe about it. We got to change that. So anyway, so I believe the Declaration of Independence clearly is a document we need to abide by. It is what needs to reframe the Constitution. It's hollowed right now. The Constitution has gone off. When I see the Constitution being changed on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and when no one's watching, and you wonder why people have no unity, because we're not doing things in a unison, and we're doing things on the fly when people aren't really having an ability to see the democracy and to see those changes. Let's talk about what it is to have a beautification of America. Design clarity. Let's move on. So when I hear the vice president at this point, I'm sorry, my bad, ex-vice president, JB, I'm not going to say his name, fill in the letters, you got the idea. And he said he wants to do for our climate $2 trillion. Honestly, when I see the HR 763, I believe that's a number, it's not good enough for me. I got to be honest. When I see that we're hearing so many reports of our ice melting, I asked somebody, I'm not going to say what meeting it was on, but I asked a question. I said, is HR 763 going to act in time enough? And as well as when I hear JB speak of that in the next 15 years, it's not fast enough for me either. Does he do design? No, he doesn't. But he's running for president right now. He doesn't do design. He's following with a bunch of people who are guiding him. And is he a contractor? No, he isn't. You see this document right here? That's part of my 5 EPA certifications. Licensed contractor, environmentally safe contractor. So that's part of my 5 EPA certifications, that where do we look out for our Earth? And I asked the one question, who can answer this? Why is it 41.5 degrees if we dig 10 feet down in the beautiful Earth that you see behind me? Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I'm trying to arrange where I have to do it opposite. so here we go. So I'm holding the Earth right now. Took a minute to get the right sizing there. So when we dig 10 feet down anywhere on the Earth, it's 41.5 degrees. Why? I've come up with this in my book. You do it every day. Your mom does it. Our kids do it. Every person listening to me, every person who's not listening to me, whether you like it or not, you do this and you don't even know. Answering that, we can put a stability. And I want to say this, for those people who don't want to acknowledge climate change, you don't have to. You know why? And trust in me, please. I want 50, 100 years safe by law, which the Constitution should affirm. It doesn't. And yet we can have someone in the White House. I look at it this way. Every national security person who's a law abiding, they just want to follow the law. So who's protecting them and their children? They have no ability. They can't go out and protest. They're stuck. I don't think so. I don't think so. My brother, who watches out for my niece, this is one reason why I'm giving up everything I represent, is for my niece also. I want her to have a safe retirement. I want to feel confident. I don't feel confident right now for that, let alone for me. I've accomplished a lot of things. Most people haven't even done half of what I've done. And please, I mean, just I'm working with our program. This is my benefits to benefit all of us. So when I see her not having a guaranteed safe tomorrow, meanwhile we own 52 to 58% of the world's net worth. America is 30% of the land mass. I'm sorry, my bad. We are 5% of the land mass. So my analogy to that is take 20 nickels out of a dollar. One nickel's worth of land out of all the 20. That's a fact. We could be a little bit off. Allow me that tolerance, please. But yet we use 30% of the world's resources. We, American, use 30% of the world's resources. To me, we need to understand how we're being guided. And you wonder why all these things aren't flowing right, because how we're being guided. So this is something I believe that changing the Constitution will allow the framing, and anyone who thought climate was or wasn't, you don't have to believe it. You know why? Because I do. In 2016, I made a video, Charles R. Zerilli for President, on YouTube. It was the first video I ever made in my life, and I broke my own molds. Again, I reframed myself. I said, I have to do this. I never wanted to make a video. And when I see all these things, I said, wait a minute. With a 97.7% triumph rate, America is calling me. Our earth is calling me. I care and I love all of us. And what am I going to do? I'm your parent, I'm your guardian, I'm your guidance, I'm your president, and not give you a safe tomorrow as be evident? That's not who I am. Go vote for one of them. You want on clarity? Go for any one of them and not giving you clarity. And you know what I learned? Let's go into this really brief before I read my poem. This is IR. Is it possible we can bring this up? That's on the, probably not that simple. So let me not. So let me just read this to you. IR is mental framing now. This is every human being, and why politicians then are trained to be ambiguous. I'm breaking that mold. You know why? Because I see through technology that comes from thousands of years, and to some people that's a hint. Please take it as that. But I'm very serious, for it's a unison for everybody, and everybody wins with this, and especially those who want to have the most, you will. We have to have, where it's a clarity, any government who's the strongest is of course going to have the most stronghold. If I get in, there's going to be people who are going to have natural benefits up front that are going to last, because when you have a government, there's going to be things in place that should be not hidden. Any billionaires out there? I have a list. 1 second, I'd like to get this. Here's 1,800 billionaires. 1,800 billionaires. We reached out to every one of these people. So the things I'm doing, I'm breaking molds, and I'm reaching out to everyone. And if someone invests, I want it to be open. You know why? Because they're going to get some benefits. They believed in me. They believed in a new system. They want to beautify America. What do? Disregard what they want to stand for? No, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'm open about what it is. You have to be reasonable when you're the strongest entity on the globe. There has to be a balance in what we represent. So the mental framing, let's give us some strength. Let's start from square one. Let's acknowledge that we also came from being primal, and yet we have people like Weinstein and all these other people making advances. How come we don't understand how to deal with this? How come we have people who can, forgive me when I say this to the people who have money, I don't mean it in the wrong way, but people who have everything that they would need, if they haven't learned certain respects and appreciation, let's say it very nice, it's easy to be acting primal. And when women get offended, I can tell you some stories. We have some very beautiful women. Why are women today looking to be independent by themselves? Why do we have, only the reason why we have a decrease in divorces today, because people aren't wanting to be involved in a relationship. Where are we going with this? We're not seeing our design clarity. We're not seeing it acting and making us clear in what we represent. So let's talk about the beginning. This is very brief, and I'm going to read my poem after this, coming up. Beautiful poem. I'm really happy of it. So IR stands for internal representation. I'm going to read this. What is our IR? It's part of our mental framing. Everyone has this. It's one myopic select view of our individual lives' interpretations. So in one moment, what you feel, that's your IR. And how does that happen? Well, it also is utilizing a thing by physiological mental process also within that called deletion. And also relative to this is having a domestic blindness. And uncountable, it's informal, um, but it allows you to delete some things out because we can't pay attention to every detail. Imagine some of us, no, we can only pay attention. You don't say that. I don't want to hear it because we are limiting the information that we can tolerate. This is why. Reasonable, very reasonable. This is who we are. Let's talk about the truth. Let's go forward. Um, it also uh, allows sometimes the inability to fix something that is plainly visible. I'm the one who added this because if you delete things that are important, are you fixing it? No. How many of us in relationships, we don't pay attention sometimes and all of a sudden a month later we blow up? Your woman or your man, whoever it is, yells at you and then where we go? Now we have to somehow find out how to work it out. So it causes a problem. So, and then we also have what's called RAS, Reticular Activating System. It's a bundle of nerves each person's brain system uses to filter out unnecessary data to so the critical data gets through. And in the meanwhile, you hear me make a mistake. Let's just take a moment and pause. And I want to say we are beautiful. And part of being beautiful, we all need to make mistakes. And let's talk about that because I'm not perfect. No president is. No vice president is. Nobody in the Congress is perfect. Nobody I know is perfect. Do you know anyone who's perfect? So let's tell the truth. Where do we take this? Let's start from the very beginning of our mental framings, leading into the framing of our Constitution. I think we're going to have a solidarity and a beautification of America. So once again, so it also, another RAS also controls sleeping, waking, and attention. It's also a sophisticated filter. It also creates blind spots to the junk. It has to be. You can't receive everything. I'm a technical person. I love being technical. I'll take it and I'll let it sit in the back of my mind. And without me thinking about it, I don't have any problem with that. Some people can't do that. I love thinking. It acts like an executive assistant. This is how integral it is to we are. Allows you to focus on what you value. Ooh, that's kind of cool because when you start to build this and you start to have better values, then we can fix the things that aren't right. Allows you to perceive a threat. Supports when you set goals. And I made a comment, it says, beautiful of us. These things are our mental framing, and it has to very well do with all the information we receive. Why did I say this? Because guess what it leads to? We see on our news. What are we being sold advertisement with? Every color, every race, whether it's straight, gay, bi, lesbian, trans, black, white, green, blue, whoever you are, retarded, straight, healthy, not healthy, everything in advertisement sells to us. But what do we see on the news? Black person did this, black person did this, Spanish guy did this. How many different things happen? And we hear so much bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. Guess what happens? We're now conditioning our RAS. And all of you are afraid because of this. Let's talk about the framing from square one. You want to change that? My name is Charles Richard Zarelli for 2020. You have to also think of this when I read this now. So what does it mean to say we go to the master for resolution? Resolution redefines the master. So what does this mean and how does this apply today? 2 words, reflected design. We look to our government, we all want to learn. We look to our TVs, we all want to learn. And what is it showing us? How much more fright, how much crime is happening. I believe when we understand the framing of this, we can evolve as a human race. Guess what happens? New businesses happen that never happened before. Those people who are afraid of business, who are afraid of national security is going to be hurt, oh no, it won't. You know why? America's #1 on the globe, and every person who's an American wants to support America being #1. Am I correct or not? You like being #1? Absolutely. I am not giving that up. Sorry. No matter who you are, it doesn't make any difference. I respect us. We're going to do business with you. As a government, we have to make money if you somehow, but let's be honest about it. So this is what I think is important. And let's give a tribute, and let's just say thank you for the moment for those who are the 1%, for those who are the rich and powerful, who are only following the laws, and they're contaminating our earth. They're making electromagnetic signals that hurt us, but they made us #1. So make up your mind. Do you want to be #1, or do you want to attack these people? Let's
have a mediation of where we can make new business and include them, I have to include these people because they're already set. They have facilities, people, payrolls, and all the rest of this. We are so set with this. So, and this is what I wrote. This is very key. So look back at what the school kids did in 3 days to stage an immediate walkout. So you think I can't be president? I disagree. Everyone who has the ability to see me, in 3 days, you can make all the difference because you feel, you know what? This guy's actually pretty smart. He's saying things. I don't consider myself smart. Please, I appreciate that when people say that to me. I'm a human being and I care. I will say it how my heart feels it, and I don't want to have a big head where I can't fit through the door. No, 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 no. So let's have a respect, and let's have a respect to exactly what we stand for. Excuse me one second. Thank you. So this is what I see as we need to have the balance, the respect of who we are. Let's understand our framing. Let's go to the next. So now it's that time for adults. So adults, please understand your devices can bring in whoever you want. Be diligent, don't stop. Charles Richard Zerilli. Spelling of my last name, Z as in zebra, E-R-I-L-L-I. Please go to my site, time to join, TIMETOJOIN.us. All one word, don't be confused. There are other sites out there that are separated and they have some of the words in sync. Don't buy that, please. Time to join, all one word, time to join.us. So with the kids that they stage an immediate walkout in 3 days, electronic devices allow you to do the same exact thing. For getting someone in who has licenses, many of them, who understands design, who understands business. I love all of us. I care for us. People committing suicide. We're going to go over some things basically. Let's move on. So voting is without a doubt far more than 3 days away. So look what the kids did. So all you adults and all you people out there and the millennials, look what those kids did to take off a walkout. You're being put to shame unless you understand what this could do. We have more than 3 days, so don't stop. My name is Charles Richard Zerilli, the Declaration of Independence Party. Unity, follow the Declaration. We are all created equal with certain unalienable rights endowed by our Creator. To me, when I say the word God, Creator, the sun, the moon, the earth, every planet, our expanse, every entity, every living thing, everything to me means God. Our centers, all that is all to me. So I want to explain that. When I say the word creator, the word God, to me, it's universal. I want it to be clear. So what I'm saying is not ambiguous. I want you to see design clarity. Let's move forwards. We're going to keep America number one. We're going to partake. We're going to feel honored. And we're going to make new business like we've never seen before. I see this done already. I understand. I've done many things. I've worked with people and giving them. And when you work with people in the right way, they satisfied. You always have a good relationship going back and forth. I've trained animals. My last 4 cats. Come on. They jump on me and they jump on my shoulder and they stay there, purring like you wouldn't believe, because I always respect. And you only reprimand when it's absolutely needed. Otherwise, you don't do it. Only when it's needed, you do it. Let's move on. So please have faith. Charles Richard Zerilli, human for president, human for 2020. Because I'm saying framing. This is why I say the word human. So let's accept that. So now I have a poem I'd like to read to you. Very beautiful. 2 parts to it. And we're just going to go over a single topic. And then after this, pretty much, we're going to end at 7:47 right now, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7/15/2020. Time is flying of this year. Plenty of time before voting. Please, those of you I want to track, those of you who are turned off, for you first, I want to attract you. Because we don't see design clarity. Design clarity includes everything. We build a house, it includes your plumbing, your electrical, the size of the rooms, how thick the walls are, where everything comes up, how many people are going to be used, the maintenance, the air conditioning, the size of the air conditioner, the size of the heating. Everything is blueprinted, like I showed you before. So this is my poem. So this is pre-notes with the poem of next step. Our past framers were a step first. 13 years past, the backstepped to worse. Whoever interprets the fair documents flex will set in place the next right and just sediment burst. Is by trusting a new honor to be framed next, to utilize a thing called design in its specs. So Zerilli asks now to be open of what was meant to be, to allow for what was shorted, new unfolds openly for all to see. as we now all join what's needed by me, done in DC. Now, those are just the opening notes to the poem itself. So now let's go into the main poem. Simply, I care. It's a joining second part of the poem. And to join, and then the main title is called My Declaration. I think it's beautiful. Here we go. My name is Charles Richard Zerilli, by the way, little station identification break. Charles Richard Zerilli for president. The Declaration of Independence Party, a party that joins all parties, giving no reason why the Democrats and Republicans don't have a reason to come together with a world pandemic. I'd like to say, honestly, when I got two people in my life to stop insulin, and I don't want to say how, I don't want to say what I did, but these are things that within national security, we can't just give up everything that's natural and destroy 25 million jobs. But with your help and you letting me know this needs to be done, we can release natural things, but we need to keep the jobs going. How would you, I ask you all a question, how would you be the president and make this work to keep 350 million American occupied, busy, relative to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness and safety and happiness? And how do we do this? You can't just release everything 1, 2, 3 and you destroy it. You hurt national security, you hurt America, you hurt. This is not reasonable. Let's, once again, everyone, when we look at all the parts and integration, then fair resolutions can be designed. And the Declaration of Independence from back in the day, when George Washington found some scrolls, I believe, I wrote this in my book, that's why the Declaration was written. You read those words, they're very unique. They're not just words, a couple of guys got together and said, let's write this. No, no, no. And you read the original Declaration of Independence, I got to get this one. When you read the original Declaration of Independence, it's very interesting how we can see very key things. In fact, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say the surprises. You put me on national television, I'll show you things of design. They're going to knock your socks off. And guess what? I'll get new socks for you. Charles Richard Zerilli. Let's continue. So this is the poem now. My Declaration. Once upon a time, there was a place called Earth. I need better light here. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. Once upon a time, there was a place called Earth. Honestly, looking back, we don't know who came first. Some people say she is the mother. Well, if we are all genetically related, for one, you are my sister and brother. If I was on a train station and saved your kid, was it considered that that was a political lid? Today, we only see more and more separation instead of total non-political collaborations. As I see that I am not acting political, allowing my left and brain to be more spherical. To allow our brains to be more balanced, I implore you to allow more the valence. So when do we mention the DOI? Only many senior moments are by the they called thy. But when do we join and be strong, Zerilli say? I think when we are threatened of our future and life today. I then turn to the women and wives who always have a way, been the family anchor of our kids and lives, to acknowledge that strength instead of only that spanking, that spark or spanking of strives. So many of my friends are multi and black. So when do we acknowledge that back instead of seeing more and more separations by today's whack to actually for real to make up for that slack? Over and over today's time, it is time to be strong, not act like slippery slime. To join, to join, to join is what's needed today, instead of they who seem to be considered by so much separation beyond per se. So it's time to be strong, strong, be strong, which means to all Americans, it's time to join to remediation and control that instinct that we rely on called tribalization. to now open up, join, and stop that they separation. While Earth is screaming, while our ice is melting, we need to turn to the main answer to that declaration. I see ways we can fix this much faster. I see ways we need to include a lot of these companies. I see ways to release free energy. We don't need gasoline anymore. And I will not break national security when I say that. We need to be wise, smart. We need to come forwards. Many people of our scientists have documented several of these things. The quantum physics that we relate to are very relative today. So to look forwards, these are some of the things that now I'd like to answer. Some of the things coming up that we said we're going to mention a couple of topics. So these are just some of the topics that the next time you tune in, we'll go over a couple of them, and more, we'll go over a couple of more. So I want to leave this as a build-up because, you know, there are so many things that we could face, and I don't want to overload people. Let's acknowledge the human race. And I also feel that by what we do, we could move on and ensue. I'm in the rhyme mode. I love us. So when it comes to climate, we need a 100 years safe without even thinking about whether climate is or isn't real. It also appeases all the people who are protesting, the activists, because as soon as they start to see my plans, it will far exceed the HR 763. It's the only thing that could work. So I don't see as something that's coming up and it's not including everything in design. You want to impress me? I want to see everything included so I can share it with you. Let's keep America number one. Let's be honest about it. Let's move past this. So 7:55 p.m. We're moving on, boiling down to the last couple of minutes here. 7:15/2020 Eastern Standard Time. My name is Charles Richard Zerilli. Time to join. So TIMETOJOIN. Time to join. .us. It's not a .com. It's .us because it's about us. So it's not about something online and digital. We all think like a cell phone today. We act so fast. If you don't get that way, we're so politically oriented. We think we have to be so politically, we drive ourselves nuts. And then when you're not happy with your neighbor and your friends, you wonder why. You're getting used to the IR of your phone. Let's be honest. Let's move past this. Let's be a little basic. Let's be well-grounded. Let's evolve our race. It all takes us to be part of it. So these are some of the things. I'm not going to read all these, but anyone know what GMO is? Let's move past that. That's one of the things by design we can talk of. 2016, we broke 105. I think we're now up to 108,000 weather records. These are fixable. Let's talk about it in a good light. I want to see Earth maintenance. That's the point. Earth maintenance. I also wrote this in my book. You don't want to focus on climate change? Please don't. Let's make it happy. Let's make the Constitution model things. Let's reframe it. Let's feel confident because it starts from the get-go and we can see the framing as an evolution. We see evolution. We're all part of it. We're willing to give in now because we feel better. More jobs are going to be created than ever had been before because we'd be transgressing. And as we're seeing these things happen anyway, Moore's law has created this. Why not use it? And we talk about it. To me, that's intelligence. Okay, so right now, armed forces. How would they be detuned? Would we defunding the police departments? One of my friends, Emmanuel Gomez, he has a website, Black Ops something. He's a very nice guy. He served in the military, Black Ops. And he had 3 states adopt a document that is an oversight of our police departments. I believe that we need to do this wisely and see all the aspects. Not that we just take $1 billion out and we put it into security back into schools. Where are the divisions of who are going to be the psychologists and therapists on site instead of letting police departments? Police departments are not facilitated to do this. And I know a lot of police. What do we do? Drive them nuts? They're not trained to do this. And what? Some people end up shots with some drug and then you're drugged up and why? You're outraged? This is what America is? I don't think so. And I look out for the police too, because I love our police. I love our national security because I've had them and I love people. I see the whole design, not just part. So we have to be fair in everything that we represent. So that's what I believe a president should be able to deliver. And I'm looking for a better than a 90% truth rating. When I say to you, put your money on. My name is Charles Richard Zerilli, the Declaration of Independence Party, joining all parties. Let's continue. Time to join.us. So when we look at that, the armed forces, if you add all the armed forces up around the whole entire globe of all the countries, America is nearly, not there, almost 2.5 times the world combined of armed forces. That's a fact. Let's move on. I'll go into these things deeper, and especially when I see you sending me emails and commentaries. These are some of the topics that I've been notified that you're interested in. So this is why I'm bringing them up, because I wanted to be able to tease, and then we're going to break it down, and then you're going to have better insights, and I want your input. Let's use technology to have you involved. So right now, when I've got the people in my life to stop insulin, she grew out of being a diabetic. Our hospitals and doctors aren't allowed really to see those things. So how can we balance that? We don't want to destroy 25 million jobs. What do? Release all the natural stuff? Where are these jobs going to go? We can't hurt the doctors. They have jobs. We need to be constructive about this. National security is part of what all of us, I want to be part of us. So you feel like you're part of it. You help make a decision. Instead of just using technology, and when we have nobody answer us, when you have all these sites and there's no person, and we don't hear the right average statistics, we don't hear the truth. We're hearing things about the pandemic, and somebody I know had a death listed somewhere else and it wasn't accurate. He freaked out. His mother died from Alzheimer's. They put it as COVID. So where do we have solid vetted information? So I want to look out for our news media. I want to protect all of you having vetted information. So that to me should be by law. It's another thing, once again, in unison of treating people, resolving a homeless, not that we take what we feel is relative to, like New York did. I'm sorry. Where's that thing that was right there, I think, below your feet? There was a news article. It was the one from Hawaii. And just a curious question. What's in the circle? What is that? I'm not going to tell you. You need to know. There it is. Thank you. You need to know this. So what do we have in New York City? God bless the man. He's doing a lot of good things, but he's not doing design. I love him as a person. We're taking people who are homeless and shipping them to Hawaii. What? So what do you think? You shovel the dirt under the rug and it goes away? I'm not saying Hawaii's a rug. Please don't lib into that. Please don't do that. I'm just making an analogy that very simply that what we see is homeless. We're not confronting these people directly. We're not showing respect. They are the sensitive people of our evolution. And what they're saying is, as we have, from what I understand, I'm going to take a roundabout number. We started to calculate. We have about 30.5 million homeless American people in America. Is that okay with you? Not okay with me. Let's see the design. Let's see the truth. Let's take it to the next step. A horrible immigration. We're breaking the Declaration of Independence. Please read it. No, in fact, I don't want you to read it. Don't read the Declaration. Don't read it. Don't read it, because then you might learn something. You might not want to learn it. So I don't want to force you to do that. I know most of it by heart, except in the fractions and how many different things. We're probably breaking about 60% of those things. So, when I see that governments are instituted among men, quote, deriving the just powers from the consent of the governed, that means we need input from you, people like myself, putting in, well, we need someone at the top who's going to make these laws happen this way. So we become an interlocked unison, caring what you think, attracting the people who are turned off. So I'm going to end in a couple of minutes here. It's 8:02. We're just about ready to knock out over here. So some politicians are playing down our climate. Where's the maintenance? Let's forget where their climate is. Not saying forget it. I see fixing this already. Why is it 41.5 degrees when you dig 10 feet down, except next to a hot volcano, a hot spring, or if it's near the permafrost? Those are excluded. But 41.5, you dig 10 feet down, no matter where you are on this earth, not in the water, of course, but on land. Why is it 41.5? I wrote this in my book. No one's talking about these things. You want science? Let's talk about someone who's directly related to science in business and very good things. So we can also see the Patriot Act, how we allowed the Patriot Act to be adjusted, and it allowed a 6-month-old baby to have, by any doctor who sees your baby laugh and cry, have brain drugs. Why was something that was relative to 9/11 then altered relative to giving a kid brain drugs? So now we can see how much the surprises happen. Where do they come from? Boom, surprise. Anyone who believed in DJT, I'm going to tell you right now, I got a surprise for you. I'm not going to tell you here. I'm going to ring circles around him. You got to make me national. You want these things to happen? I need to feel you care. I love you. I need to feel your love back. It's simple as that. So I'm not going to go to the rest of these things. There are several different things. Um, the one thing I'm going to read more is we have 15,000 service vets living homeless in Titusville, Florida, in the woods. A guy did a documentary on it, eating cat food. Does your heart hurt you when you hear that? Not acceptable. Not acceptable. Once again, if we were to understand the sufferings, we would see this. Then would you allow that? I wouldn't. So here we are. My name is Charles Richard Zerilli. We're going to wrap up now, 8:04 p.m. I thank you for your time. So I would just like to finalize with number one to answer unclear statistics. Why news needs to lead us in many ways. It affects our IR. It affects our RAS. We need to take the responsibility of this. We need to face this. No vetted news laws exist. How do we protect our media people? We need to protect them. The amendments show that they deserve this right. We need the truth. If we had the truth, we'd be able to steer us. I believe national security can happen within that affirmatively and still make the people who want to be in the first positions. I don't think that's a problem when you're open and you have people willingly be part. I see it very viable. It must be installed. These new laws must be installed to progress our human, our race, our America wisely. So what I want to do, Charles Richard Zerilli, for president for 2020, like I said, the young kids in 3 days ended up, within a couple of days, ended up creating a walkout. So don't think it's not possible. This is electronic devices today. You get on, you contact everyone you know. Charles Richard Zerilli. Even if you don't see me on the ballot, which my intention is to be there, you put me as a write-in. I'm not going away. I love us. And so you have to check the box, write in, you write me in. The Declaration of Independence Party, joining all parties, allowing no reasons or excuses by the Democrats or the Republicans of how we can keep on fighting, and we keep on fighting. And where's this taking us? We're not addressing the most serious things. And what can I say? I mean, are we acting primal? I have to X that to a certain degree. We have to say we are. Look at some of the things. With no words, we're disheveled as a race. With no words, we can see we're disheveled. We need to fix this. It's very doable. I wouldn't be here if I didn't be able to fix things, because I have the 97% rate I see is very reasonable in what we have. So I love us. I care for all of us. I want to do it for all of us. So that's the first thing. The second thing was to answer the second things as we went down the very beginning, seeking new protective laws of honesty, facing who we are at every level, so it's easier to understand. It's reasonable for children to grow up. We don't tell men and women of really what were things that are part of us when we're encountering those things. I didn't have any understanding of what a woman really feel and think by anyone else, and sometimes your parents can't even tell you things. So this is where we are. So at every level, facing us and facing real numbers, we need real statistics. I believe all of you ask the question, what would you do as a president of the United States? Then you would see the fair balance. And I believe you'd be willing to be part of this. And I'd want you to be part, because I'd want feedback from you using our technology, not because we use it to just make so many things happen. And all of a sudden, here we are, we're all walking away from each other. We're becoming so politically correct. Please stop that. I love all of us. I'm giving up my life. I mean, I don't have a perfect, I'm not Brad Pitt, and I might have his abs. Sorry, Jen. But my heart and my mind are, and to join. Time to join, time to join.us. So we need to have real truths. And for that to be clear to you, to all of us, is the only way. Now, to accomplish this, you need to get someone in like me, Charles Richard Zerilli. Is anyone else saying what I am? I don't think so. I'm your guy. Let's cause a solidity, a unity, American, we can, American is what we are. So we can definitely do this. So anyone who knows design and business and ecology, also what the Declaration as one of the most things, and I'll share this at a later on date. I like to leave several things. Do you know the Declaration looks out for us into our death? Did you know that? It does. Like I said before, from birth to death, and very simple. And for quote, and for the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence. What does that mean? Divine providence. Divine is when we become in our spiritual state in upper level, and providence is when we reside there. Divine providence is when our spirit rises out of our body. Guess what? It knew this. How did the Declaration know that? I'm not telling you now. So a lot of people think that the Declaration was some makeup document. I'm insulted to hear that. That's not true. You need to share me, pass me around. We need to have a new solidarity, and when you feel part of this, we can evolve our race and all be part of it gladly and happily, facing some of these things, facing a new way, a new solidarity. Ameri can, Ameri we can, Ameri we can. Yes, we can. So you must vote and feel you're good. Vote your conscience. You must vote me in. Please vote, especially if you've never had before. I'm looking to attract all of us who are turned off. My name is Charles Richard Zarrilli, running for the president of our beautiful United States. Time to join, TIMETOJOIN.us. For those who don't online, by design, I'm considering you too. My phone number, 718-865-8720. I'll give it to you again, 718-865-8720. And I'll give it to you again, because I know how many times people I get information, they say it too fast, and I'll talk for just 10 seconds, just if you can get a pen, get it ready. Time to join, TIMETOJOIN.us. The phone number, 718-865-8720. And I'm looking for any one of you who are willing to help, volunteers, work from your home, be on our staff across America. My motto is, we are beautiful. Please believe in me. We could do this. There's a lot that we could face, but we also have to be a little bit tough, because then we could blow past this. And I want to add this. I believe in 90 days, this pandemic will be done. When I had not gotten a cold in 17 years, and I got one of my neighbors, one of my rentals, to stop insulin. Once again, I really can't tell you how now, but the people who are doing it are vetting it. It's vetted information, documented, 100% fact. Please fact check me for the truth, and I want that opportunity. My name is Charles Richard Zarrilli, and I'd like to leave you with this. First off, Charles Richard Zarrilli running for president in 2020, human president for 2020, and we are beautiful. From my heart, every cell of my body, I love all of us. I care for all of us, and I refuse to walk away from us without us evolving. We all have to care. To make no decision is a decision. So I now ask all of you to have a leap in faith. Please make that decision to care, because I see us changing by the design, seeing all the things relatively that we can do this. My name is Charles Richard Zarrilli, human for 2020, president of our United States. And I'd like to leave you with this. Be strong, be confident, be positive, and see it done already. The Declaration of Independence Party is joining all parties. I believe it's the only resolution is that we don't fight and we use tribalization to pick one or the other, and then we use this and we go back and forth. I'm done with that. We have a pandemic. We're losing our solidarity. We're losing safety in ourselves. We're seeing bad news all the time. We're mistrusting each other. We're training ourselves for this. Let's cause a new unity. My name is Charles Richard Zarrilli. At your service, Declaration of Independence Party. I love and care for all of us. Thank you very much. I look forward again to Sunday night. This Sunday night coming up, I believe it's the 19th, 7 p.m. This is going to be a bi-monthly webinar Zoom meeting, and please chat in when your ability to send in questions, Q&A. I'm very curious. Also on my website. Also, you can also look on my website for my Global Modern Resolution Plan of America. You'll appreciate that. I mentioned several different things. I love you all. I care for you all. Thank you, America. God bless. Be safe.